Hey, it's me, Puppet DM, and I'm here to tell you all about the sponsors we have here at the Wandering Society. We're sponsored here by Mage Hand Press, makers of a bunch of 5th edition supplements, like the Book of Kobold or their series of new classes. And don't forget, Arcmada, the amazing sci-fi fantasy campaign setting for the world's greatest role-playing game. Be sure to check them out at store.mageandpress.com. Up next, we have Roll20. It's the platform we use here at the Wandering Society to play all of our games. It's easy to use, intuitive, and it now comes with dark mode. Be sure to check them out at roll20.net. We're also sponsored by R. Talsorian Games. R. Talsorian Games make great RPGs, and they've been doing so since the early 90s. Check their books. They've got Cyberpunk Red, which Simon tells me has been played here extensively, Castle Falkenstein, which also has been played here, and The Witcher, which has also been. Okay, we get it! Check them out at your FLGS or online at rtalsoriangames.com. Have you ever wanted to wake up and smell the coffee? Well, now you can with this next sponsor, Found Familiar. Get yourself some damn good coffee at foundfamiliar.com and use the code on the screen to get 15% off. What do you mean I can't drink coffee? What the fuck is felt? And we couldn't end this segment without talking about our good friends at Die Hard Dice. That's right. As a Dice affiliate, we are proud to partner with Die Hard Dice to bring you only the best in shiny click-clacks. Click-clacks? What is... Ow. You can check their ever-growing collection over at dieharddice.com and use the link below to get 15% off. You're putting this all on me? I better get a cut.
Yep.
Why are we still muted? Okay, Harold. There we go. Hello, everyone. It is Saturday. Welcome, one and all. We are playing Scion. This is our 62nd episode. We are 7 weeks away from the nice episode. We'll see what happens. But Yeah, welcome. I'm Simon at Wondering DM. I use he, him pronouns. We have one missing player for today, and Finbar, who's going to be Robert, will join us in a few moments. But first, let's introduce the cast that we have right now, and the two players who are going to have to face all the dangers by themselves. I'll start with top of the overlay in the corner, in the right corner. Hannah, hi.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm in this campaign. I am playing Kieran Kearney, son of Loki, he, him, who's definitely did not just eat another godling's soul in our last session. That's not me.
Yep. And facing the divine cannibal in the left corner, Lynn.
Hey, I am Lynn Shive, and today I am playing Dihiga, daughter of Minari, she, her, who through Kieran's very impressive stealth roll has no idea the horrific act that occurred.
I still have no idea of what.
Such a good.
I think
such
your
a good
microphone
play.
went down for a second.
There we go. Is it back?
Yeah.
Yeah. Divine Cannibal is such a good title.
I mean, it makes it seem like it was sanctioned.
It was sanctioned by you, the GM.
I mean, if you're a god, you can sanction it yourself.
I sanctioned it myself.
Yeah. I just recall one god who ate other gods. It didn't end well for him.
I mean, he got a really cool painting out of it, I think.
You mean where he looks like a disheveled, crazy old man barfing up a baby? Yeah.
I mean, you're never gonna look your best when you do that sort of thing. It's
not a good angle.
Yeah, I guess. But speaking of events
I mean,
that happened
if you eat barbecue, you're not gonna look that much different.
But yeah, no. Aside from the eating of a poor, defenseless young man, the rest that happened last time, basically, our Scion, after going to Russia to investigate the last remaining living Scion that they hadn't met yet. Last remaining living Scion. Anyway, they got to St. Petersburg and met with Myro, who is a Scion of not Eton, of Siva, and who was himself sort of embroiled in this conspiracy by creatures called Calicansaros, who were stealing, as you learn, stealing people's emotions away, forcing them to become basically apathetic to everything around them. And the Calicansaros were using this to force the World Tree, which they were trying to cut down, to stop healing, as this was the one thing that kept preventing them from, achieving their end of destroying the world. You went out in the Russian Oblast, found the entrance to their lair, went down, fought quite a lot of them, climbed the World Tree from the inside. Dee had, for a moment, all of her emotions and will taken away. Got them back, and you ended up in a fierce fight with their, let's call them foreman, I guess. The only issue is the fight sort of wounded the tree, which, well, you don't know if it died or not, but something terrible happened, and you all fell into darkness, awoke on an ashy beach where everything was gray. Thunder on the horizon, dark clouds overhead. Morning was just gone. Myro was with you, but he got severely injured in the fall and was basically passed out. his divine essence basically left his body as he died of his wounds and was nommed immediately by Kieran. While that was going on, a dark figure made land at the beach, and Chiron himself came to greet you, asking for money for passage. Chiron seems to hold a miniature version of himself within his robe that handles all the transactions, as the taller being is just steering the ship. You hopped on his boat and made your way. Well, you don't know that. So we're picking back up today. You're in this rowboat. Finbar, Dee, and Kieran. The unfathomably deep water slapping against the side of the boat. There's mist all around. It clings to whatever sea you're currently sailing on, but it seems to always part, like at a certain radius around you. Maybe like a good 30-40 yards around, just so that it obscures everything around it, makes the sea just look infinite. It opens wherever you go and it closes in back of you. From time to time, you can see faces in the river, well, the sea. People trying to claw their way from the bottom to the surface. They come from all walks of life, but they share the one same thing. Their hair is long and matted, only growing in patches. Their teeth are all needles with dried, cut lips, as if the dead themselves ate them for sustenance. Their eyes are just these grayish white orbs that remind you of the fog that just clings around. They reach out, sink, swim back up, and sink again. None of them have broken the water. Chiron behind you is softly humming a tune. As he's guiding you, he hasn't said a word since you left. Only after maybe, since you left the beach, might have been an hour, might have been 2 hours. For what it's worth, might be 4 hours. It's been a long time. There is no sun here. And none of your devices for telling time work. They all indicate the same year, January 1st, 1901, at midnight. And it's only after these few hours that Chiron finally speaks up. And his deep, cavernous voice. Light the lantern. Seems to point to the prow of the ship. He says, light the lantern.
You want us to light it? Or are you gonna light it?
You. I am busy. And there's a old dinged up fog lantern at the prow of the ship. It hangs precariously There's a wick in it. It looks almost completely burnt out. But there's just like a tiny bit of it still poking out.
All right. I'll take my lighter that my daddy gave me. Now, like, click it a few times, trying to light the lantern.
It takes several attempts. The flame from your lighter, like, it comes out, and it's almost immediately snuffed out by whatever air this is around. But eventually, there's just enough of it to light the little lantern, and it sheds a green glow in a cone in front of the ship. And you notice the fog begins to act up in that cone, where all around it's just regular mist. In that area, that illuminated area, you see that the fog is nothing more than a roiling mass of phantoms, just ghosts trying to claw at each other. Seems like they're trying to escape. Parents, thank you.
Don't mention it.
We near our destination.
Good.
Do
Okay.
not touch the water.
Didn't intend on doing it. And I think quietly, Kieran's like, I think this one's worse than the last time we're in one of these places.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel the same way.
Tell me, godlings, have you ever been to the Vale?
The veil?
The Vale. Let me get a brochure. And like out of his cloak, the tiny version of Chiron comes out holding a soggy, wet pamphlet. And like holds it up in
Do you-
between the two of you.
You'll take it. It's like, you know what?
He waddles
is-
back in.
Yeah, I think you will just like kind of open it up, kind of like you know, kind of like in between, just like this
Even
might
though it's like paste,
Mhm.
it seems to have retained its structural integrity.
it's just kind of like perpetually, yeah, kind of, damn.
It's a tourist brochure.
Yeah.
It says, "So you're coming to visit us," and it's like the image on the cover is like this. Imagine the stereotypical Maine coastal village,
Mhm.
right? The very Stephen King-y type of thing. Except everything is dark, black, dark blue. There's like a lightning streak on there, like on the horizon on that pamphlet.
Yeah.
When you open it up, most of the writing has been smudged away and is not very legible. What you can make out of it at first, like if you want to use powers on it, that's up to you, but I'll tell you what you see at first glance is the Vale appears to be the name of a town or a city.
Mhm.
The amount of inhabitants is just like a blot. It offers succor to weary souls and those who made the mistake of not believing enough or whose beliefs were misplaced. It's apparently been carved out of a titan, but the pamphlet doesn't say who. It offers a wide variety of recreational activities, such as a vibrant nightlife, multiple libraries. There's an internet cafe for those who want to. It is connected to the local internet. There are also several amphitheaters, and the images that you have in those 2 other pages of the brochure is, it seems like this town is both a major metropolitan area that exists in multiple locations on Earth at the same time. It's almost like if someone took pictures of different places on Earth, filtered them out to look spooky, and was just, this is my city.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, like, there's nothing that unifies all of them. Everything clashes. And they say that they hope to see you. Once you come, you'll never want to leave.
Well, I mean, that's more minis than I was expecting here. I was expecting it just to be the 3 of us, and it was nice that when we asked for information, someone gave us a nice little thing.
Sure.
Which doesn't really help. We need to get out of here, because I don't know if this is going to be the same as last time. I would like to get back before, years pass, if we can get out.
If we can get out.
It would be nice to have mourning for this sort of thing, being the expert in death somewhere, but we're gonna have to make it on our
We'll
own.
figure it out. We'll get out of here.
Byron says, death. I'm somewhat of a death expert myself.
Sure you are.
No one leaves the faith.
Nobody. Like, statistically, there have been not a single person who's left this place.
I mean, there could have been exception, I guess.
I mean, I'll take that.
Behold. And he makes like a sweeping gesture with his arm, and the mist parts completely in that cone. And you see in the distance, you're probably still like an hour away or so at the speed that he's rowing.
Mm-hmm.
That little coastal main town. But right after the first row of like houses and docks, you have skyscrapers. You have strange, misshapen towers that look like they're going to collapse at any moment. The entire city seems to be built on the side of an impressively tall mountain. It just goes up and up into the darkness. You pass by a ruined lighthouse that reminds you of Madrigal's lighthouse.
Mm-hmm.
Except this one is very much dilapidated. And there is no light. Welcome to the Vale. I would advise avoiding the colors. See you where they are.
Oh, thank you for the ride.
How do we identify the colors?
I do not know. I haven't been here in a...
So that's just like a vague general lookout. Just
They
aware.
are the authorities. They all the population, those who do not respect sanctity of death.
Sanctity of death.
We are extremely respectful.
You are not dead, ergo you do not respect death. Avoid the color and have a pleasant stay. And the rowboat just knocks softly into a pier. All right, off you go.
Yep.
Turns the rowboat around after you've disembarked. You just hear his voice echoing as he sails away. Do not forget to give me 5 stars on Yelp. And the fog sorts of swallows the entire boat up. Chiron keeps up with current things, you know?
Does he?
You hear a lot of shit when you ferry all the dead around.
Is he on Uber also?
No. But do you open your Uber app on your phone?
Do I open my Uber app on my phone?
Yeah.
Yes.
The local map is all screwed up. It looks like your app is glitching as the streets keep reorganizing themselves all the time. However, there is about like 4 drivers available. There are little dots on the map keep changing places. And the prices are just strange. Like one of them has
Also in ancient Sumerian coins.
No, it's like one of them has a discount right now, and it's the price is just the name of your firstborn. Another one asks for a sack of oranges that grows in the winter. Someone else has something a little more I'm not gonna say realistic, but they're asking for the bank card, the bank robber, somewhat tangentially related to money, but it's all these weird, almost like Fae-like bargains, I guess. Requests.
Hey, you got any oranges on you?
No. If I was back home, it'd be easy enough to get winter oranges, but not here. I guess we'll look through the list. Let's see if there's anything we can find that at least seems attainable.
I don't think we'll be able to figure this place out by ourselves without some kind of guide.
I mean, it would be maybe we can just play tourist for a while until we figure out what lay of the land.
Yeah.
The pier around you, by the way, is I'm going to say devoid of life in the sense of devoid of people. Everyone here's dead,
Mm-hmm.
but there's just no one. You can see like there are like these old fishing nets
Mm-hmm.
hung about. There's a on one of the piers. It's about like 2 k's over. You have like those like drying racks for fish,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just one. As if someone like hooked a bunch of racks together, and it's holding the skeleton of some kind of marine creature. Doesn't look quite like a shark, unless they had like two tail fins and no dorsal fin. A little weird, but other than that, other than the surrealness of the place, it looks how can I say, it looks almost recognizable. You know, if you've ever been to Maine or you've ever seen photos of it, it looks like that, with just like little details here and there. And beyond, first like couple of rows of houses and warehouses, then you have like a busy business quarter, maybe. You can hear hub in the distance. That's where the skyscrapers are. None of them, by the way, as far as you know, have any light in them. None of the houses here seem to have any lights. No candles, no lanterns, no nothing. Yet you can still see there's like this ambient, just like twilight level of lighting. But the twilight of a day that also have like severe thunderstorm. Where would you want to go?
Oh, that's good. Where should we go?
I don't know. What are we
Or I
looking
should
for?
rephrase, is there a place or a type of establishment that you might be looking for?
Yeah, what are we looking for down here? We just kind of got thrown down here.
I mean, the brochure did say it something about like internet access.
Sure, maybe we
I
can
mean,
go to a
it's
coffee house or something. Maybe there's a
Yeah.
Starbucks in hell. I don't know.
I don't know. I think that might be a better way of like more staying out of the way of people.
Sure.
Figure out what the hell this place is. I mean, beats going up to random people and asking and just try and have them be tour guides for us.
Yeah. I'm sure customer service people have dealt with weirder questions than whatever we might have to ask.
And there might be coffee.
That's
Although I'm a little afraid, considering.
You walk out of the pier, and where that sort of section would change to the busy business quarter, instead gives way to it. It changes almost instantaneously to, it looks like the downtown area of like 1880s Paris. Skyscrapers are gone, the architecture has changed, and there are people now. Just colorless shades. They walk about, do their business. Some of them are probably coming back from a grocery run or something. They're holding bags with food in it. There are quite a few cafes and bistros where shades are sitting on a terrace and just talking. It's incoherent mumbling. You realize as you get nearer, especially Finbar, they're just speaking like a myriad of different languages.
Yeah.
Some of them dead languages. And everyone seems to understand everyone else.
I'm familiar with like kind of like spirits and stuff. Are these like spirits? Or are they kind of like manifestations of the place? Like, are these like the dead, or are these like
They are the dead.
okay?
Not quite spirit in the animistic sense of like what the kamis are.
Yeah, but like,
Those-
I think her difference is like, are these just like, reflections of the place? You know, like the
Yeah,
pier
like a
is,
construct of the.
are they construct, or are these actual like individuals like
Um,
that inhabit the place?
they seem to all be individuals
Okay.
that
So,
inhabit the place, except for anything that they eat, drink, carry. Like the person carrying their grocery bag, the shade is this. Imagine humans, hairless, and their color is just this dark bluish purple.
okay.
They seem to wear clothes because you can sort of see like a definition of clothing around them, but they just don't have any color.
Okay. Yeah.
But what they carry is in color, and it stands in stark contrast to the sort of dark, black, colorless exterior of everything else. The person carrying the grocery bags, the bags are brown paper bags, and you can see a very vibrant, like green branch of celery poking out of it. Something else that seems to be wrapped in tinfoil. Because this is Paris, of course, there's a baguette somewhere in there. And everything smells exactly like it should, but just a little off. You pass by some of those cafes, and you smell the coffee, but it, Parisian cafes, you're gonna have something that smells good. It smells like instant coffee that roasted that someone probably put in like water that was just way too hot. It's like, diluted instant coffee. But it smells like. When you pass the person with the grocery bags by, you can smell the sort of almost like earthen smell of vegetables that were, sold at a farmer's market a few hours ago, like that were harvested locally and all that. But there's like that faint odor of rot in back of it. It's all just tinted with death. Some of the shades turn to look at you. Others just don't really care. It's very typical of like what an urban scene would be like. You stand out, definitely, but you don't seem to attract that much attention.
That's good.
And, well, like you wanted, there is an internet cafe. It's got a crooked neon sign, which stands out against the, like, late 19th century decor. A concrete staircase that goes down like a couple of steps and then turns. and an ominous added door with no windows.
All right. Seems like the place. Let's hope that what they want is at least more attainable than what the Ubers wanted.
Well, prepare for the worst, I guess.
All right.
Hope for the best.
All right. Let's.
Hello, Finbar.
Hello.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm going to be a little bit hesitant about maybe eating or drinking anything from here. I kind of remember a story about a lady named Persephone that ate about a few seeds and was not able to leave from Hades and stuff like that. So we might want to be a little bit careful of what we consume if history tries to repeat itself.
All right.
The coffee smells terrible anyway, so, no great loss.
You make your way inside this cafe and find yourselves in this, like, Jules Verne's like ambiance. It's like you stepped into a steampunk cafe. Everything's made of brass with unnecessary gears and valves everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The computers are these massive construct, like a 1970s computer, or I should say 1960s, that took up almost like an entire room to themselves. And there's like 6 of them. They take up pretty much all of it, and a counter just a few ways off as you come in, that has 2 shades working in back of it. And they turn to look at you, they nod, and then they just keep doing whatever it is they were doing, which seems like one of them is typing, but just in thin air. Just mechanically going back to whatever clerk job that they were doing, probably in life.
All right. Dee will go up to one of the clerks and say, "It's like, we're new here, so we'd like to have some time with one of the machines here. You are friends."
Shade replies in, we'll go with Spanish. And Finbar can probably translate, unless Dee also speaks Spanish, but it says, the stations are free. Take your pick.
What do you
And
say?
you realize there's like no signs for like how much it would cost. They didn't even ask for anything.
Supposedly, she says that the access is free, no charge. Find it a little hard to believe, but
Well, I mean, that's convenient. That's good for us. So,
yes.
Shall we?
Sure.
All right, let's see what we can find out.
Can't imagine the internet's too terribly fast
Or-
with these machines.
If we can have any contact with the upstairs world, so to speak.
Oh, if we're so lucky.
The Shade says, these are not connected to the world of the living. You can try. Many have. None have succeeded. Our ISP is sort of strict.
Finbar will pull out his barred phone and see if what kind of Wi-Fi or dead-fi or whatever fi signal he gets down here.
So there's an access point, if you would, if you want to connect to like the free Wi-Fi of this place. in all respects, it acts like a modern internet cafe in the sense that you can connect to the Wi-Fi here. There's like excellent signal. Same for the computers. But if you try to access any website, like even just Google, it just says that it is a command that is not recognized.
There's no Google in hell. That I find hard to believe.
Don't have it. Some places are worse than hell.
Might I suggest we try maybe an old, dead search engine such as like Dogpile or Jeeves or something?
Ask Jeeves, I was about to say.
It does exist.
Well, that would make sense. If this is where people go to die, then old software would probably come to die in the same spot. If we're probably if I log in, I'll probably find Lotus 123 on here, I would imagine.
You will find a lot of... basically, you would find a lot of things that you would also find on the Internet Archive. But it seems that all of them are kind of just this like snapshot in time.
Mm-hmm.
Taken at an undefined moment.
Mm-hmm.
Web pages won't be updated. They'll appear as they appeared at some point in time when they were still in use and their servers weren't decommissioned. That's it. Also, I should mention that on these computers, the monitors, which are about yay big, a foot by a foot, they only display two colors. The dark blue and black. Makes it very hard to read. And like the keyboards are just these they're like the old mechanical typewriter keys.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like you're playing on an old-timey cash register.
Classic IBM Selectric.
Probably. I have like the image in my mind.
These like
Oh no, not even the Selectric. No, I'm talking about like go back a couple centuries.
So we're talking old-fashioned manual.
Yeah, you know those that were
Typewriter.
like round and it was just linked with like the directly to like the metal pin that led.
Mm-hmm. My grandfather used to have one of those. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's odd, but it works. If you want to use this strange internet, for any query that you have, I'll ask you to make a roll of intellect and technology.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime you have a question or there's something you want to look at or look for, let me know what it is and then make a roll. Depending on the availability of that information, that will set the like amount of successes you need. And if you do not succeed, it just appears that the information just doesn't exist. Like I said, in some places, in some cases, like a website is shown like I don't know, a GeoCities page of like a fan page of whatever. But you can clearly see that like all the dates, all the timestamps, they all remain like up to a certain date, even though you would know that in the world of the living, like that website continued to live on for maybe like a months or years afterwards and was then decommissioned. But the version that exists here is just frozen in time at that moment. So even some information that might or should have been available just might not be.
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking for? What is your first query?
I think D. If it's if this thing this version of the internet can bring up information on this place.
That's what I was wondering too, because that's like most of our problems are things that are relevant to here.
Yeah, like I think she wants like information of like this place maybe doesn't have maps, but just kind of like areas, and then what the hell the colors are.
Colors, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you give me a roll?
All right.
Intellect technology, that's just difficulty 2. You only need 2 successes.
All right. Technology. 3 successes.
E. You find a website by just like searching like for like the Vale visitor information and all that, and the city itself seems to have a website. It is clunky and most of the links are dead. But
it probably does look like a government site and something, just like how.
But like a government site that was built in Dreamweaver.
Last updated 1997.
They're all kind of like
that.
So like it's fine.
Formatting on the pages is all wrong. Like sometimes the text is like left justify a little too much, and it's just like missing because like the menu bar just hides half of the sentences. It's strange stuff like that. Half the pictures don't load. So the city doesn't have a map per se, because the people that live here, and it says, as a newcomer, you will learn to navigate the labyrinthine nature of our majestic city. Everything changes because the Vale is a city that contains the sum total of human experiences in one city. There's a section of the website to try to ease certain people into understanding newer things, such as electricity, such as coaches and carts and cars, and it doesn't tell you how to operate them, but it tells you to be careful.
If these things were to appear, do not be alarmed. These are normal for this earth.
Yeah, they do say that after staying here a while, it doesn't state how long, the nature of the city will make it so that you become one of us. And then you won't need any of those like warnings or new info or whatever. So it's like, don't be scared if you are confused, if things do not make sense, if people speak in languages you have never heard, it'll get better.
Does it specify how long a while is, or does it just give like a vague?
It just says a while. But it does say that if you feel overwhelmed by those experiences, to go to your living quarters and just shut yourself in and sleep. And the city will do the rest. And if you do not know where your living quarters are, you can always go to the town hall and ask for your key. And then it explains that keys might not look like the keys you might be used to. They are now smaller. But they do act like keys. And then there's a section that Finbar can decipher, which is essentially addressed to like 10,000 BC humans.
Oh.
As to like This is a door. This is how it closes, and you can have it so that people cannot open it. But also, if you are lost at any point in time, you can ask one of the Chthonian colors.
There we go.
And you have a depiction of one of them. It's these, they look like plague doctors, but their head is an actual, like, bird skull.
All right.
Are we
And it's the
talking
only-
like vulture or a stork or just or maybe
Like a raven?
The one that you see right now looks more like a crow or a raven. It's got the
Sweet.
just the sort of round beak, but that doesn't end in necessarily like a pointy tip. But yes, so these are the Chthonian colors. You haven't met any on
I mean-
your way here.
I mean, good. Good.
hopefully we can keep it that way.
there
By
anything
and that
else you
sort of thing. Rules, like law, like that sort of thing.
When you search for laws, I won't ask you for another role because it would be like on the same website.
Mm-hmm. Like, are there big things that we that are out of the ordinary for like normal things like that apply here? Like
The
specifically?
document is 6,000 pages long
Jesus Christ.
Good God.
because it covers everything.
No.
Essentially, the gist of it.
By the time I finish reading that.
Huh?
I said I'll be dead by the time I finish reading that.
The gist of it is you need to respect the sanctity of death.
All
In
right.
that the dead that are here cannot come to harm. As one of the dead, you cannot harm another dead. It says to forget anything about blood feuds, revenge, or maybe even wars that do not seek out those who have killed you. Because should you take revenge, the Cullers will get to work. You also learn something about private property. It doesn't exist.
Good.
In the sense that anything can be shared because you will never lack anything. If you go to a restaurant, they will always have whatever it is they're offering.
Excellent. Good.
You will never lose power if your living quarters are in an area with power. You will never go hungry, will never be sick. Anything that you might have acquired in your life will not affect you. Which also means, like, if someone, died of syphilis,
Mm-hmm.
the shade does not have syphilis.
Oh, that's good.
However, it is possible, apparently, to visit a person called the chirurgeon.
Mm-hmm.
To alter your ectoplasmic body. So say you lost a leg in a fight when you were 18 in like a war or whatever, and you died at 65. You spent most of your life without that leg. When you appear here, you have both. you're
Yeah,
not
cool.
used to it, you want it back to the way it was, you can. They do
Understandable.
not care for money. People will just ask, like, as far as prices go, so long as you can provide whatever it is that is asked, that's it. The question is, where do you get it?
Hmm.
So it's all
Um,
commodity based then.
Kind of, but there's no
In a
rarity.
sense.
There's no scarcity. It's just a question of time. Like, you wanted to
Interesting.
get the oranges that grew in winter somewhere in the city, you will find your answer. What is it? You don't know yet. There doesn't
Mhm.
seem to be seasons here anyway. But there could be like a grocery store, like a modern grocery store somewhere that sells oranges. And the like the date that they were harvested at, they were picked at, happens to be like, I don't know, December 12th, 1931. And it's like, well, there we go.
Good year for oranges.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like the restaurant at the end of the universe. As long as there was a penny in your account before you died, all the interest is accumulated at this point. You've got everything you need.
Kind of, yeah. They do in the laws, like there's a section that warns newcomers about swindlers and con artists. People that think that they can somehow find a way to escape the city, and they will use other shades to do so. Like, they'll never harm them, but they will essentially turn your eternal rest, quote, question mark, into torment. And there's a cool section about not leaving the city, and it lists like probably like things that people attempted before. And you can decipher through it that the people that are here are all the people that had no faith in the old gods. Like, you know, you and your parents. And so they were not picked up to go to their respective underworlds. And it is a myth that the gods visit this place to like save / recruit / bring people along with them to emigrate to their own underworld. The gods will never set foot in the Vale because the gods cannot set foot in the Vale.
Uh-oh.
Technically, the three of you aren't gods.
I know, but still, it's like, you know, we are affiliated. So
You have the potential of upsetting the local balance.
yeah, that's
But yeah, it
So
doesn't
need
mean
to be
that everyone
careful.
here is like an atheist. Some is just because they never thought, say, that the gods were like deserving of their respect. Right? To the people that are here, some might be here because they were scorned by some deity, like they did something to betray whatever deity. It's this section is strange because it's all written in Old Greek, as if it like targeted certain individuals.
So this would be more of a place for like the backsliders, the blasphemers, and people along that line, rather than necessarily a true atheist agnostic kind of situation.
Well, both, because in that sense, like, how many people in the modern world pray to Loki or to, you know, to Inari, or pray to shoot, you're the Scion of Ogma. Like, they don't exist anymore, quote unquote. And so those people end up in the Veil. It's kind of weird because it means that at some point when Loki and whoever decided to cast the net over Earth, it coincides with a massive increase in population here.
Oh, huh. Interesting.
So the moment that, you know, that famous whatever it is that he did, that you're either, you know, the other band, Professor Morgan and the others were trying to fix, seems to have a direct impact on this place.
So you can't move on if you don't have contact because of the net.
Well, there's that, but
In
also
theory.
if you never have contact over generations, you don't really, like, some of those old religious observances are still observed today, but it doesn't seem like it's enough. It's like people don't build temples to Artemis anymore. There's no, like, there's also in that document, like, it doesn't state exactly what you needed to do to not be here. It is, like the very city itself, very vague and ill-defined. But if you're here, you're here. And it's not quite hell, because you'll never need for anything. But it's just this strange, like, existence where you know you're not quite where you're supposed to be. And that you'll never be where you're supposed to be. Welcome to the Veil. Let's take a quick break. Oh, no, go ahead, Finbar.
So in other words, these people are on the ultimate hold button. All right, so we'll have to make sure we're careful.
And we'll be back in about 5 minutes, everyone.
All right.
Hello, we are back. So still at the strange steampunkish internet cafe. You queried about the city, about the laws. Was there anything else you wanted to look for?
While we're here, would there be anything about this net on here?
Give me a roll. I won't
Intellect
give
and
you the
tech, right?
difficulty ahead of time this time.
No problem. Intellect plus technology, correct?
Intellect, technology, wait.
All right.
Just as you figured, there's nothing. The people down here don't seem to be aware of anything that goes on in the overworld. And by that I mean not the world of the living, but like, you know, the world of the gods.
Mm-hmm. It was worth a shot. Well, do we... What we're looking for is probably not here, so I guess we need to try to find a way to move on and out of this place.
Does it say why the gods never come down here? Is it by choice or are they being kept out?
Ooh.
Somebody's got better tech literacy than
Yeah,
me.
I'll search it. I'll search that.
I was gonna say, who wants to roll?
Not me, I got 2 dice total in that.
Kieran
4
typing
fingers.
with just 2 fingers. Or your question is, do they know that they can't leave? Kieran?
No, it's why have there never been like a known presence of gods coming down here in any capacity? Is it because they can't or because they choose not to?
It is because they are not allowed. Nothing on this strange internet lets you know why or who is powerful enough to ward the gods away from this place. But there's this sort of cosmic law, if you would. The gods are not allowed to set foot in the Vale.
Probably another good reason for us to not be here very long.
I guess so.
And even like in your divine soul, you don't feel a need to leave. You don't even feel uneasy in here. So it's not like if it was some sort of magic that would, you know, kill you if you set foot in town if you were a god. It just like just a rule that all the gods abide by. And contrary to what the rumors say, no gods have ever walked the streets of the Vale.
Interesting.
Okay. All right then. Where to from here?
They said they couldn't get to the punch through the internet. They said but I'll take that as a challenge, and if you don't mind, I'm gonna try and see if I can mess with this thing, improve it, see if we can get a chance. 'Cause I'd like to know what the hell happened after we ended up, you know, tapping up there when we were down here. Like, we didn't necessarily leave it in the best condition.
No. Can you give me a roll?
I
Go
am
for it.
Oh,
I'm gonna use like if it's gonna my flawless platonic ideal knack. It's on my. It should be the first one on my creators.
to- first one on your creator.
It should be the center. The center.
Mortal
column.
Mask?
No, above it, right above it. Oh no, I don't know why Mortal Mask is on that thing. Oh, there you go. Flawless platonic ideal is the.
Oh, flawlessly platonic ideal.
Yeah.
Because you would, yeah, okay, so you would consider like basically considering a software to breach whatever it is here,
Or
would
even
be
like
an object
possibly,
that you're crafting,
or even possibly like using whatever hardware I have here to like also kind of help.
jury rig stuff. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, just kind of like.
Let me just grab the because I think the crafting is in another book. Give me just a moment. But yes, the answer is yes. You can definitely do that.
Hopefully, it's enough.
There we go. Okay.
Order to.
Okay. Just to get like an idea of what you need to do, I'd say give me it's probably going to be intellect and no, in this case cunning. It's going to be cunning and technology.
All right, cunning and technology. Four successes.
Okay. You looking at what you have to work with. It's possible. But you'll need to tinker a lot with the hardware in here. It's going to take between several hours to several days. But you can't just go and dismantle the place here. Even as you like begin
Actually,
to
would it be possible to do that with the phone?
No. You would need to have like to use what it to basically reverse engineer sort of strange sorry, reverse engineer the sort of their technology to essentially like abuse one of their loopholes, right? Exploit, this is the word I'm looking for. Exploit one of their loopholes. It's possible, but it needs to be done with what they have. You can either try to come back when there's no one here, or you can find a way to dismantle what's here and bring it elsewhere. But in game terms, it's an entire session worth of effort that needs to be put into it. Which means that whatever it is that you are creating, it's going to take up and it's not downtime, like it's active time, but it's going to require that you perhaps find a lot of different things in the city.
Okay.
But you are confident that, like with 4 successes, it's not just a hunch. Like you can do it. You know you can do it. You just need a few things you don't have on hand right now. Thankfully, everything is findable in the Vale. Finbar and Kieran, though, you would notice as D is examining everything and thinking and sometimes just, searching some of the stuff on the local net. That the two shades behind the counter seem to have taken a greater interest in you. Perhaps it's because they're sensing what D wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps it's because they finally realize that y'all are in color. You don't look like shades.
Yeah, but we literally told them we were new.
Mm-hmm. But for some reason, you seem to have attracted their attention. They're both looking at you. One of the shade is whispering. The one that spoke Spanish earlier is whispering in the ears of the second one.
I think D is going to, just to the rest of them, like, kind of quietly, I think this thing is capable. I think I can make it punch through to the above ground internet. It's just going to be a while if that's an option that we want to deal with.
We might have to leave and go someplace else if it's going to take a little bit of a while, because I think they're starting to get onto us. Get wise to what I'm doing.
They're looking at us a little bit suspiciously here. I wonder if they're sensing what you're up to.
And
Or
it's
what
like
we've been
he'll
looking for.
look to Kieran like, you're charming. You can convince them, and we're doing okay.
You want me to schmooze with these things?
Yes.
Okay. All right. How long do you think it'll take you to get through?
We might have to break in, but just so we're not immediately.
Break in.
Hmm?
How long do you need?
It's gonna be a while. We need a bunch of things. It's not gonna be easy. But if it's gonna be our only option to be able to figure out what's happening back home.
Does it have to be done here, or do you think that we could do it someplace else? Because they did mention that there's like housing that we could just like lock ourselves in.
Like unless you can transport these machines in your pockets, I don't think we can.
No, I don't think I can do that. Okay.
It'd be a little bit challenging.
But just enough to like, so they don't immediately call the colors or whatever the hell that those things are.
Right.
Because I think what I'm planning is probably super illegal here.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I don't want to be cold or whatever it is that they're going to do to us. Finbar, you come with me. Like, keep an eye between the two.
Yeah.
Like, keep an eye on me, but also like help me translate, maybe.
You might, or I might need to do a performance. Okay.
Yeah, you might need to do it.
Procedural question, Simon.
Yep.
I'm looking over one of my boons here, Tongue of the Bard.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of their prowess and deeds, one of the things is what quality or knack that they possess. Would I be able to use that to determine that whether doing an enthralling performance would even work on these creatures?
Let me see. It would give you a lot of information, some of which would answer your question.
Okay.
But guess what? They are trivial targets.
Oh, look at that.
So you don't need to roll, and you don't need to imbue legend.
Okay.
I'm just not gonna give you the answer as a poem because, poetry is not one of my forte.
No, I don't need to do a Canterbury's Tale thing on this.
No, it's okay. I already did very bad singing last night. I'm good. These shades are beholden to the laws of the place, which means that whether they want to or not, they will rat you out. It's always just a question of time. It's like in their nature, right? You are upsetting the entire balance of this place. That said, do they have you can consider this sort of thing they have to be basically a geese that they're under.
Interesting.
It's been given, even with your powers, you don't know who gave it to them. It seems to be the city itself that imposes it upon them. A deed that they're best known for, currently working on, or want to hide. They want to call the colors without you realizing it. And qualities or knacks that they have. I think I need to open a different book for that. Just a sec. Because that's more of a game mechanic thing. Yeah, that would be in Hero.
Rat us out.
So it's basically sounding like I could distract them all day long, but they're still going to be aware of what's going on and try to turn us into
so if
colors.
you make your enthralling performance.
Yeah.
Enthralling performance requires a roll, though. Like the one that doesn't require a roll is Tongue of the Bard.
Right.
But so you could theoretically enthrall them for a day. Statistically, it means you need to roll, succeed, and then they have to fail at their resistance check.
Right.
Every time they want to take another action. So it is theoretically possible, but like, unless I roll like shit for a long time, statistically a day is unlikely. Like, it would be an actual quote unquote miracle, right?
Right.
Okay, I have the page that I needed, and they are
Basically, I'm trying to determine whether I need to encourage D that we need to do this somewhere other than inside here.
Well, I think D's thing is like she breaks in and overnight and then works on it before they like.
Oh.
they have a power called Step Sideways. You might have heard of it. Essentially, the shades, at least the two that you are looking at here, have the power to cross extreme physical distances in a single stride. You get the feeling, Finbar, that it's probably because of how the city works. That all the shades here, instead of being at the mercy of the city and needing to find their way, they probably eventually get the ability to just think about where they want to go, and it just so happens that they will get there. Kind of similar to when Dee earlier said she wanted to find an internet cafe, and the next street over changed from what it was supposed to be, which was like a business district, to like the Parisian downtown of the 19th century. So probably like once you know the city enough, or once you've been here enough, you have this ability that normally would require, right, a Scion. I'm not talking about like a demigod, but like a, starting Scion, like 1 or 2 points of legend. but they're still considered trivial targets. Like, they have powers that clearly are supernatural. Like, humans didn't have that. That those shades certainly did not have that back when they were living.
No.
Again, it might be something that the city imparts on like whoever lives here.
Right.
Those are your answers. So you could use it. You can absolutely use enthralling performance. It'll work for as long as I roll. I'm not quite sure the difficulty is still 2 though. That would be a little weird. Enthralling performance is under. It's a boon. It's a boon, not a knack.
It's a boon, yeah.
Okay. Let me just find.
Yeah. So no one can look away from your art when you put on performance. All affected targets in range that witness your performance cannot stop paying attention to you. If they wish to take another action, they must
it's
do it as
always
a mixed
difficulty
action
2.
combined
Okay.
with integrity plus resolve. Roll at difficulty 2. Putting on a performance with this boon is a complex action that can last multiple rounds, but does not require a roll.
So basically, they would need to roll. I get. Sorry. I can tell you right now that it would be difficult. Looking at them, you know that it would be difficult for them to resist.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like, you know, I might just roll a 10.
Yeah.
But you can certainly try.
Yeah. I'm not sure how long we can keep them distracted, D. I wonder if maybe we should go find another way to access that rather than from here. Otherwise, the colors may come calling.
I mean, it's my intention to come back at night when they're not here, and then I can work through the night and hopefully.
Okay. All right. Why don't we try that then? Let's go ahead and leave before they get any more of their muster up.
Well, just enough so they don't immediately call the colors while we're here. All right, let's go.
You you leave the cafe and where do you want to go? There are still people all around you on the street, just walking, talking, going about their daily lives. Notice, though, that at the far end of the street, 2 bird-headed creatures have rounded a corner. They're not running. They're walking. They seem to be going in your direction. They're still very far away. Like, you notice it just because the beak itself is so big that despite them being tiny in the distance, they don't look like regular shades. What do you do?
We should still turn around and head the other direction. We don't head right up to them.
I would agree to that. Let's at least prove if they're if they're trying to follow us or not.
Yeah.
I mean, to this point, we haven't done anything wrong, at least that we are aware of per se. So,
Do you have a destination in mind?
Well, what about the housing units that they said that we could just ask for a key?
since we're not officially dead, we'd get one though.
Well, didn't they say that if you're new and you're having a hard time adjusting, that you could go to one of the living quarters and just
It's
hang
worth
out.
a try. It's worth a try.
Yeah, I mean, what's the worst they could do? Call the colors on us, as opposed to the other people who are going to call the colors on us.
Yeah.
Turn around, basically head back the way you came. But instead of shifting over to this like main fishing village, the city in front of your eyes warps, and you find yourself in a sort of labyrinth of alleys and back streets. It looks like you're in an old city. None of the streets are paved. They're all winding, snaking. None of them are straight. It's not a grid. It's not something that's been planned. It is cramped. You can barely move two people side by side. There are sounds of horses' hooves striking like the dirt paths somewhere to your left, but ahead of you, the narrow back streets split, like they fork into three directions. Two of them seem to go somewhat left, one clearly goes right. The buildings around you, they look like they're made of limestone, perhaps? Or sandstone, something like that. It's just, they all have the same color. Like on Earth, you could definitely identify what it is. Here, it's a bit harder. At a glance, the architecture reminds you of some sort of probably Middle Eastern city like Constantinople during the antiquity, like before it became the capital of the Byzantine Empire. Something like that. It's just buildings are taller than they should be. We're talking like 20 stories high. Something that kind of a feat of architecture back then. But it's just that. Some seem to lean so much that they threaten to crash out onto the street. And if you look over your shoulders, two colors are still following.
I'm going to hold up my Bard cell phone as if I was looking at it, but I just wanted to see if I can get a reflection off there to see if they're keeping their distance or if they're closing the distance.
They're closing in. They're still far away. Like unless you do not move anywhere, they don't run. Mind you, you haven't taken off into a sprint either. They are closer than where they were back then. Seems like when you transitioned over to this place now, those like narrow streets, they just followed along.
All right, they're not to get y'all worried, but they are getting closer, so let's just keep it cool.
Do you think using our powers here would draw more attention to ourselves than in the normal world?
Possibly. Or just the fact that we are different.
I mean, we've already been pegged as different, apparently.
So maybe we're just under observation to make sure of what we are, that we behave and all that. Don't know for sure. They're not showing any kind of they're not showing us any kind of threatening behavior as of yet. It's just their presence right now. So.
Exactly. Aren't they getting closer? Like their pace is faster than ours, and they're going in the same direction as us, despite the fact that we went in a different direction, right?
That's what it appears. All right, on the three forks in the road, using my lay of the land boon, can I tell which of these three paths is the most often trod upon?
Um, the one to the left, completely the one that goes the leftmost,
Mm-hmm.
seems to be the shortest route to the town hall. They all three of them will lead there. Just some will take longer than others. The second one to the left is the longest, and the one to the right, even though it seems to go in the opposite direction, is sort of an in-between. Can you give me cunning and survival, Bar?
Cunning. Survival. Not a whole lot on either, but we'll see what happens. Nope, nothing.
Well, that is a point of momentum. So as you're debating, do we take the shortest route? Do we take the others? And just looking at your phone, you see in the reflection that in those precious few seconds, the colors have crossed like half the distance. They are now within shouting distance of you.
How close are we to the place we need to get?
If your map doesn't keep glitching on your phone, Finbar, and changing the configuration of the streets, if you take off in a sprint, you might be there in like 5 minutes.
Do we want to book it, or do we want to still keep showing composure? If we sprint, we can get there about 5 minutes. Obviously, longer.
Yeah, if you walk, it would be about like 15 to 20.
So
Considering that some of you can't.
those things go. If we break into a sprint, that might read as suspicious to the bird things, and they might take
Exactly.
flight and offers.
I say we keep at our regular pace.
For now, sure.
Don't act guilty if we're not guilty of anything.
Keep walking towards the town hall, taking the
We'll take the shortest route.
second to the left, route. As you're walking, you realize when you look from time to time, the colors, they close in, but at a slower pace than when you weren't moving. So basically, your decision to not run seems to work in your favor. Like assuming that they were, let's say, 30 yards behind you. As you're walking, they might like close in like a yard per minute or so. Just like their gait is a little faster than yours. The narrow way does like this S, like two big curves, one of which is just a staircase, a very steep staircase that goes down. When you're walking on it and you would see like this entire area of the city. It's very Mediterranean. It would look great on an Instagram post if it wasn't for the fact that the bay is this sort of strange, almost like bioluminescent purple. Everything else is black. There's still other clouds overhead. And the bay seems to be more of a lake. You can probably see... They're not quite sure what it is because things seem to pop in and out, but it might be like a mountain range. Just like it surrounds it. You go down the steps. end up in a subway station. Like they just seem to lead naturally into a tunnel with ceramic plates on floor, the walls, the ceiling. An old like 1920s tramway, one of the San Francisco tramways, just pass you by. There are a couple of shades hanging out on the dock there, just waiting for their train. The station stretches for a while, but you can see the exit. There seems to be like another tunnel over there. The colors are no longer following you. Once you enter the subway station, they're not there. You hear a bing on the PA, and a voice, very distorted, says, "Next stop, Town Hall."
Next stop, Town Hall. Looks like this is what we're looking for.
Yep, that's us.
All right.
There's another tramway that comes by. This one stops. Doors open. There's a number of shades that come out of the tramway that is way more than this wagon should probably fit. And as they come out, sort of like almost like a clown car, you notice in the windows of the tramway, the wagon is empty. This whole time as the shades come out, you never see anyone inside. Takes about 2-3 minutes to empty, and then the handful of people that were waiting walk in. Again, through the windows, you don't see anyone. Do you step in?
I mean, yeah, we should, right? Next up.
That's going to be my next question. Is there indoor as opposed to the outdoor that all these shades are using? Is it just all the same doorways?
When you step inside the wagon, has any one of you read The Murder on the Orient Express?
Oh yeah, I've read the book several times.
So you know, like those like early 20th century passenger wagons.
Mhm.
That's what you step into. Not a tramway, but this lavish decor with this one is a like the dining compartment, but you can see through the windows of like the door at the end that the next one over is like the passenger one, you know, with the doors that close on the one side. Some of the shades have taken their place at the tables and are looking over menus. There's like 2 of them that just like look like glance at you when you come in, but they don't pay any more mind than this.
Does the food in here also smell rotten?
It smells, well, for what there is, yes. Like you can see on one of the tables, there's like this rather sizable salt shaker, and even the salt inside has like accumulated in clumps instead of just being still like the fine grains. One of the table has a basket of breadsticks,
Not the breadsticks,
but they
too.
look soggy.
Uh-huh.
They don't smell too bad, but you know, it just quite appetizing. There's that same table has a bowl of like yellow liquid on it, which you realize now is just melted butter. And through the window, the other end of the passenger wagon, steps in two Chthonian colors.
Oh, God.
Tramway departs, and we're gonna end on that.
They're probably just conductors. If we're lucky.
Well, if we're not, then, you know, time for plan B.
Mm-hmm. I didn't think we'd be able to totally ditch them. So,
Of course not. Probably.
Well, I mean, if everyone has the power to cross any distance in the blink of an eye, you probably lost them because the city switched to something else that they might not have been expecting, and they just had to take a detour.
all right.
Who knows?
Dumb and stupid question, department.
Yep.
I don't know if there's a lot of variation between, but do these look like the same two colors that were following us down the street, or are they so nondescript that they don't, that there's not a lot of telltale difference between?
It's not that
That's
they're
rude. No, all
nondescript.
bars look the same.
It's not that they're nondescript, but they're all dressed like plague doctors. So it's the long, almost like form-fitting black coat with the gloves,
heavy gloves, and
the boots.
everything.
Yeah, they just don't have the mask, right? Where the bird mask would be, it's just their entire face is just this giant
bird head.
I was gonna say bird brain. Bird skulls, and
cranium.
They do not have like a hat over it. It's just a skull. If you've played a game called, it's a Russian game, Pathologic. It's an old game that's like buggy as hell. You might be better off watching the H Bomber Guy video on it that he made like years ago. The graphics aren't that great, but it's kind of like that. Except in that game, they look just like it's a bird skull with like just a cloak. In this case, they have like a defined body. It's their head is bird's head, like the dead guy in Beetlejuice when he changes his head.
Yeah,
have like the big nose. And I was trying to remember what it is.
I've never watched Beetlejuice.
What?
No, but I have played Pathologic, so at least I got one of your references.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Alrighty then.
Well, that is it for today. Next week and next stop, Town Hall, question mark?
Town Hall exclamation point. We'll get there.
I mean, you might get your residency. Like, that's good.
Yeah.
It's a good first step.
I'm just hoping this residency isn't called the Hotel California.
Well, you know what's weird? One of you has been hunting for an apartment since day one of this game.
Yeah, it's free real estate. I mean, like, what's not to like?
You might now have your own.
Yay!
But yeah, let's go around the table. Tell us who you are, where we can find you, all that good stuff. We'll do the same order as we did the intros, and then pin bar at the end. So, top corner, Kieran, hello.
Hey, I'm Kieran, also known as Hannah. You can find me on Hanimation Art on Twitter, Hanimation Studios, pretty much everywhere else. Just plain Hanimation on Blue Sky. I will be at MegaCon in Florida on February the 1st that weekend, so I will not be here to play then, but if you are in Florida and going to a major convention, you can find me in person, which is pretty cool. Otherwise, you can find me on Wednesdays over on Laugh Love Lindy's channel for Below the Land of Fire, which is a Call of Cthulhu campaign set in the 1980s. And then back here again on Saturday for more Scion, Wrath of the New Gods, where we are definitely going to live and live well and didn't need anybody.
Thank you for coming. D.
Hey everyone, I'm Lynn. Gremlin art pretty much everywhere on the socials. You can find my art there, and for got some upcoming things. But before you're sure, check out the finale of Carousel Court on Victor Warriors channel, where we kind of had our final session and see how the entire 65 odd year camp cycle has kind of ended up. I think everyone ended up pretty interesting places.
Nice. And last but not least,
All right, I'm Hawkeye, or Kentucky Hawkeye. You can catch me here on Twitch number of times during the week. Later on tonight on my channel, Hawkeye's Old Time Gaming Emporium at 8 p.m. will be Grappler's Keep, our WWE 2K23 universe, where a number of characters from all of your favorite tabletop RPG genres compete in a ring that we lovingly call the Dice Tray. We are on our way we have our matches this week. Then next week we'll have a special session, which is going to be our coronation tournament, where we're basically going to crown the king and queen of the kings and queens of the keep as we work our way towards our next premium live event, the Fiendish Stockade. Otherwise, Monday nights you can catch my daughter and I for Family Night Emporium as we're working our way through Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, or as we prefer to call it, The Further Adventures of Mousetroid. We're about 4 planets away from completing the game out as far as all the different locations are concerned, just some other than finishing up some other mild quests there. On Wednesday nights is Baldur's Gate 3, where we're working through the story of the legend of Ben de Mustaine. He is a gold dragonborn paladin. We're working our way through Act 2 right now, so having some fun with that first time playthrough adventure there. So otherwise, if you're looking for a different type of crafts kind of stuff, I build custom DM and GM screens. You can catch my Etsy site at Diet Water Productions there, and we have couple of different designs there, and there's some new designs that are going to hopefully be coming up in the next month or so that'll be available as well. So feel free to take advantage of that. Otherwise, catch me here Saturdays at 1 p.m. as well. And other than that, Cleric by day and RPG Fanboy by night.
thank you very much. As for me, everyone, hey, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for everyone who hung out in chat. Thank you, players, for being here on a Saturday afternoon. I'm Simon at Wandering DM. You'll catch me next on Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern as we move into episode 2 of season 5 of Montreal by Night, where I basically sent all the players underground, and it's just a giant dungeon crawl at that point. Or maybe, we'll see. Things are gonna get exciting. Then you can find me over on Trooper SJP's channel on Friday for the second episode of the second adventure of Sandman, the Mask of Halal, where I don't fucking know what's going on in that game anymore. There's an army of dudes in the desert led by 4 guys on a motorcycle. But also Rocket is the Wicked Witch of the West, but not. And we're in a Shakespearean play, but not really. And children are dangerous.
That just sounds like a Mad Max movie.
Also, we can.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Someone last night said Night Riders. According to the description the trooper gave, might be Night Riders, but I looked at Night Riders real quick, and it looks like just a bunch of people LARPing while also riding motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
It's a George Romero movie, so I mean, it's probably good.
That tracks.
But yeah, less gimp clothes by the sound of it. Yeah, they're dressed like the fawns. It's like for the fawns. Oh, also they don't have eyes. They just have like empty holes, and they cry blood.
Yeah, the motorcycle version of Ghost Riders in the Sky.
Basically, yeah. considering that the entire first adventure is basically just Casablanca, I get the feeling that they've kept going with this, right? But I think the theme of it is like plays, but I'm not sure. I don't know. It's fucking weird. It's fucking weird. But that's us on Fridays, and then we'll be back here on Saturday for Scion. Just as I did last night, I'm going to do a little bit of shill, but our next Kickstarter is going live next month. We're basically, it's a reprint of Vampire Chapters, and the digital version of it, if you never got it before, you can now have it with basically the entire game, but instead of using the tiny booklets on paper, everything is on an app that you can use on your phone or your tablet or whatever, which makes reading a whole lot easier. And we've also added 3 new clans and an epilogue, so even for returning backers, you can just get the things that didn't exist in the older version. And of course, all the erratas are fixed in it, which is kind of the point of it all. Thank you so much for coming, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.